Are you looking to grow in your level of spirituality? Or perhaps you're meditating but you feel stuck or like you're not progressing? Or perhaps you don't want to meditate but you still want to be spiritual and grow and develop your spirituality? Or maybe you're just looking for a bit more clarity about what spirituality actually is. Well, I'm Mark Zoretti. I'm a spiritual author and teacher, and I've got decades of experience. And every Thursday night I run a live show over on Rumble where people in the public can send me questions just like you. About 3 weeks ago, episode 30, we got a really good question which answers this particular topic about spirituality, meditation, where people are getting stuck, and kind of bringing clarity to the overall picture. So if this sounds interesting to you, I'd like to share that segment with you now. Let's go to the first question that we're being asked today. Nicholas asks, does meditation have any place in spirituality, seeking a closer relationship with God? And so what Nicholas is saying there, he's put seeking a closer relationship with God in brackets, because what he's hinting at there is that, as we've defined in this live show and in previous podcasts and in the book, the simplest way of putting spirituality is that an inner desire that transcends intellect, a desire of the heart to be closer to God, would be a very simple and easy to understand way. Now, it becomes more complicated because then you start saying, well, what is God? Boom, that's a big question. But keeping things really simple, the clue is in the name, spirituality. It's not mindfulness, and I've talked about mindfulness in previous episodes, but mindfulness, the clue's in the name, is to do with your mind. Spirituality is to do with your spirit, and it is your spirit that is the seat of love. It's the seat of the beacon of light within you that is literally pointing you, showing you, or trying to show you the way back to God. And so your spirit desires to return to the source of your spirit, which is God. So that's keeping things really simple. So framing things in that way, then we can look at this question and say, well, does meditation have any place in spirituality? So similarly, then, we should really define what meditation is. And most people, I think, will recognize meditation to be sitting down, eyes closed, not moving, being still. From the outside, most types of meditation will probably look very similar, unless, of course, people are paying what is fundamentally a lot of attention to the physical postures. So if they're doing mudras, which is certain, I'll show you on the other camera. So if they're doing things with their hands to connect up different fingers to the thumbs and stuff like that, or putting the tongue on the roof of their mouth, these kinds of things, or the pushing their heels into their groin, these are called mudras. And the idea there is that you're connecting up energy circuits in the body. Now, connecting energy circuits in the body means you're working with bodily energy. Fundamentally, I mean, people might talk about Ida and Pingala or Kundalini energy, but it's all still centered around the body. And spirituality is, as we've discussed, the goal of trying to return to God or get closer to God. And God doesn't have a body. So anything to do with the body is eventually going to probably represent a limit, even if it is energy and not form. So going back to what is meditation, we'd say, well, look, on the outside, it looks like it's about sitting in stillness and giving your attention. On the inside, what you give your attention to pretty much defines the meditation. So if you give your attention to a mantra, which is a set of sounds that you repeat on the inside, then what you're doing is you're creating vibration within you, which may or may not be actually helpful, and B, you're giving your attention to your mind, which is creating the vibration of those sounds within you, since it's your mind repeating the mantra, or your brain, to be more specific. Similarly, if, for example, you're doing counting breath, then you're paying very much attention to your body and the sound of the counting, or the cadence of the counting. Now, doesn't mean that these things aren't good, but they're not the same thing as, say, for example, sitting in stillness and actually meditating with light and sound. Notice I said with light and sound and not on light and sound, because light and sound is a gift. So light energy, the light of God, which is revealed in a process which traditionally was called initiation. So again, I apologize if this is new to you. I'll put links in the description to all of these things, but I've talked about initiation and written articles about it and talked about it in books and stuff. But in a nutshell, it's a process by which someone who is very spiritually advanced reveals spiritual light to a person, and that fundamentally is like a switching on. And with the revelation of spiritual light, you are now able to meditate on something higher than you, or meditate with something higher than you. And the keeping things really simple, what happens is that raises your spirit and your soul to transcend the awareness of your brain, or what people call mind, and the awareness of your body, and eventually over a long period of time, literally tens of thousands of hours of meditation over years, even decades, then there can be enough of a letting go through practice and desire, as in not desire down but desire up. There can be enough letting go that you let go of all of the limits that you identify with. There's no more you, and there's if you like, a reunification, or it's difficult because the spirit was never part of God. It was made from God by God, but it was never God. But let's just say the light of God guides the spirit, and that is what enlightenment is when the spirit can go no further and transcends all limits, including reality, creation, time, all of these things, so that it is as close to that which is one thing everywhere and has always been there and will always be there, which is God. So, boom, big topics. Where does meditation fit within this? Well, the spiritual journey on light requires the revelation of light. And this is something that I've done for a small number of people over a long period of time. And so I can talk from experience, having received it and having given it, that side of things is real. But I talked about the soul and the spirit, and the soul side of the journey has nothing to do with meditation and everything to do with change. So the spirit is already all the qualities that are good, light, love, etc. The soul, if you like, is your potential. But that potential, it doesn't get realised unless you make choices in life. And through exploring those choices, you gain experience. And you experience, importantly, not nice things. So it's not about bliss, it's not about nirvana, it's not about hedonism, it's not about satiating your desires. You explore and experience good things, meaning you demonstrate goodness. And then you can break that down into all kinds of things like forgiveness, compassion, kindness, wisdom, truthfulness, being just, not being wrongful, all of these kinds of things. Anything that when you look at a person and you go, that quality is good, and the classics would be things like compassion and things like this. But whenever you do the right thing, your soul grows. And what is that growth? What direction, or what parameter is that growth? Well, it grows in goodness. And the different qualities that it can grow in through experience, we sometimes refer to soul qualities. So, for example, if you're in a situation that requires courage, then when you're courageous, you grow in your level of courage, and your soul has grown, not physically, not in size, but in its qualities. And so the soul journey is the journey to become more good. And what's the root word of good? Is godly. Now, it doesn't mean that we become God, but it means that we align more and more closely with the qualities of God. And so spirituality can be the spiritual journey through meditation of going to the source, through the revelation of spiritual light. It can also be the growth of an individual in terms of their soul growing to be more good. Now, if you're paying attention, one of those requires someone to intervene, initiation, the other one doesn't. So the spiritual journey that is available to everyone is the soul journey. The spiritual journey of taking the spirit to the source, to God, it's not you taking it, it's God taking it, is a gift. And it's not a gift for everyone, it's a gift for those who are ready or where there is need. And there's two schools of thought. There's some people that believe that everyone can do it, you just zap them with the energy and boom, they'll all get enlightened. And there's the other school of thought, which is that this is a very rare thing, that this is a very precious thing, and it is totally a gift from God that we could never earn, that the only thing we can do is to respect that gift through the process of meditating upon it, upon the light, with the light, but we don't earn it. We don't earn the progress. We don't earn the right to it. It's a gift. Total There has to be total humility. So when it comes to, does meditation have a place in spirituality, the answer is yes and no. For the majority of people, the truth is no, because one of the reasons why I said that the spiritual side is a gift is, if you haven't worked on the soul side, if you haven't developed those soul qualities to a level of maturity, then you're not in the right alignment with goodness, to actually benefit from being given the spiritual side of the picture. Now, what most people make the mistake of is thinking it's all about sitting down and meditating, and then that will make me good or better or ready, and then I can progress. And it's completely the other way around. You need to work on yourself. So the truth is that for the massive majority of people on the planet, and there's no judgment in this, it's simply the truth, then what's being overlooked is the soul development in anticipation of the spiritual journey. And really, people might need many more lifetimes of working on the soul before there's any potential to actually progress on the spiritual journey. And this has taken me, when did I, 1997, 98 is when I started teaching and got initiated. 2009 was when I attained enlightenment. And it's taken me until probably about 2015, 16 to really get my head around this myself. So it's not surprising that there's a lot of confusion. So hopefully that answers the question that, yeah, there is relevance, but it's not as binary as people think. It's not sit down, meditate, and you are spiritual. Quite the opposite, actually. Spirituality happens in everyday life through the choices that we make. And the reason why in that picture I've got the picture of the book, The Wake Up Call, so Spiritual Life Explained, The Wake Up Call, The Way Back to God, is that book out of all of them is the one that probably defines and explains what the spiritual journey from a meditative soul and spirit point perspective are all really about, and how there's a wonderful chapter in that book where it flips everything upside down and shows us that our body-centric views of the world have actually hamstrung us spiritually, and that we need to, well, we have the opportunity to turn things upside down and see things the way they really are, and it takes a lot of the pressure off. And if you found that helpful, then I really recommend going over to Rumble. I'll put links below where you can you can sign up for free, but you can even just do it anonymously. It's just like YouTube, really. And get involved every Thursday night, 9 p.m, because we're covering all kinds of topics just like this for people who are real, genuine seekers of truth and looking to spiritually grow and make themselves and the world a better place. So I'll see you there on Thursday night. Take care and God bless.